but to assure them that maybe this is not our time, that the beautiful ones are not yet born.
Good.
When the beautiful ones are born and Ghanaians are ready to invest all what belongs to all of us into all of us and create that atmosphere for all of us to flourish, then we could be given the opportunity to lead the country.
Okay.
But the way things are going, I don't believe that this is a party that has pledged to create opportunity for all, irrespective of your status of life, your ability to raise money, your professional, your regional or tribal background, your gender or religious. I don't think that this is in accord with that whole principle. So I will not, and I repeat, I will not be part of that process if the National Executive Committee don't respond to our petition positively by coming down drastically.
What exactly do you mean by coming down drastically? How much is it going to be okay by the size of your pocket? If the 400,000 Ghana cedis is too astronomical, how much can you pay?
I have, and together with my colleagues, have made proposals to them, looking at what they, at their level, paid. The forms were not about 500 Ghana cedis, and filing fees were not about 10,000 Ghana cedis. That is for the national chairman. The general secretary was 8,000 Ghana cedis, and this was scaled down for the others. But since we are going up to be number one, definitely yours will go up. And so we said that the fund should not be more than 5,000 Ghana cedis. Okay, so if we are moved from 500 to 5,000, that everybody should understand. Then we said that the filing fees should not be more than 100,000. So we are moved from 10,000 to 100,000. And that should also be quite reasonable and acceptable by all. Then we can sit down as a party and look at those cost implications of organizing the event. And the first thing we have to look at is cutting down the cost, eliminating the waste. Definitely, our system has not been open. And so you see a lot of rumors that some money have passed into the hands of some people, some executives, and they have not passed it on. And all this form part of the cost of those events. And so if we are able to sit down and put a good system in place, we'll be able to eliminate the waste, we'll be able to clean up the system and eliminate corruption and reduce the cost. After we have reduced the cost, we will now get the party to know that this is the cost, and the party will now rise up to sponsor the cost, not just the aspirants. I listened to explanation by both the General Secretary, the National Chairman, and some key members of the National Executive Committee, and they seem to have been influenced by the cost. And that's why I'm addressing it. You know, I think that is wrong. That cost is the cost for the party. That cost, I believe, is not well thought through. And we should be, because you see, what you do in your party gives an indication as to what you do when you are in government. And the health of your party determines the health of your government. Yes, so Ghanaians should know this and be critical and vigilant to make sure it's only healthy parties that are clean, parties that commit themselves to serving Ghanaians, not themselves, that should be given the mantle to rule this country.
Interesting. Honorable, we understand some MPs and the party bigwigs are raising funds to support, should I say, your main contender, former President John Dramani Mahama. Are you worried?
No. I'm not worried. You just stated that some other people are also coming together to contribute to support me. And so if others are also coming together to contribute to support the former president, I'm not worried.
Good.
You see, my worry is only that we will now be compelled to focus on only those that have contributed. You understand?
Yes, I do.
They will be giving a priority of place in the consideration of things when we are in power. And I don't think that is creating opportunity for all. I don't think that.
Good. I had the opportunity to listen to the newly elected General Secretary of your party. And he is of the opinion that organizing a Congress is not case play. It's not child's play. It's a big deal. So they need huge sums of money, figure around 7 million, 8 million Ghana cedis before they can put together a successful Congress. That's the ultimate reason why they are charging you people that amount.
Well, everybody knows that the General Secretary, Honorable Asedu Nketia, is a very good friend of mine. He is my colleague. He was with me in Parliament for 12 good years. And he left at the time I was a leader for 4 years. And I've always been with him up to date. But he's aware that I always have strong views, and I'm very open, candid, and blunt sometimes. And I told him that I completely disagree with him. This is not the first time we are organizing a Congress. We just organized one Congress. They all went there to contest. We do not put the cost of that Congress on their shoulders. We didn't. So why this time? What has changed? That is the contestants that now have to shoulder that cost. You know? What is good to Uganda? It's also equally good for the goose.
Nice one.
But apart from that, it's a principle. We stand for something. We stand for some values. We stand for some principles as a party. That's what we espouse. You know? I don't see what has happened for us to differ from that core values and principles. If the cost is that colossal as he's talking about, and this is the first time we are hearing about it anyway, the party was not consulted. And even as flag bearer aspirants, we were not consulted. If we were consulted, we have looked at the cost and reduced it. And there are many ways of doing that. You understand? So it's sad to hear them trying to justify a wrong, you know, by trying to be creative, just hanging on any straw to survive. It will not happen.
Interesting. You know, at the just ended conference at Trade Fair, none of the aspirants were given the opportunity to address the delegates, except former president. Were you worried? Was it a scheme tilted to maximize his comfort?
We were prepared to suffer the initial offer they gave him to address the Congress at the opening ceremony, being a former president. We were prepared, at least, to go with that. But we are not enthused, and we are not happy, and we will not countenance what happened at the closing session. You know that this was a poorly organized Congress, and a lot of things happened. And so sitting from going around from Friday night up to Sunday, we had to go to at least take some meals. And that was the time they had the closing session. The former president, after addressing Congress, left. because there was some accident, they used that. Well, I also went to visit the victims at the Rich Hospital. And I also donated money to support them, okay, their medication. And so when they were finishing and they called him back to come and do what he did, and for them to be making illuminations and playing his songs and dancing, that definitely is at variance with creating an even playing field for all contestants. And we are not happy about that. We have cited that as one of the reasons why some of the delegates should recuse themselves from the process of organizing the Congress for the flag bearer aspirants.
Very interesting. Honorable, you know, no Voltarian was elected to the top brass position of the party. Is it a worrying event moving forward? Because we all know that the NDC has a very strong root in the Volta region, though the three northern regions has been very fantastic. But the World Bank has always been the Volta region. No top brass from Volta. Is it worrying?
Yeah, it is worrying, you know. As you yourself have just summarized, when Volta region sneezes, we catch cold as a party. And so it's worrying. Apart from that, you know, our constitution is very clear as to what is to be done. And see, because many of our executive members and Ghanaians in general are not too very versed with the provision of the legal framework under which we are operating, they sometimes just, with a flick of a tongue, just do away with some of these issues that are raised. Well, you see, even in the National Constitution, the 1992 Constitution, when you go to, I think it's Article 55, you know, there's a provision there saying that, see, the members of the National Executive Committee of a political party shall be chosen from all the regions of Ghana. Do you understand? Good. The Volta region has got some members of the National Executive who are in the second commanding position. They are deputies. And so one could argue that at least that region got. But there are still some regions that never got anything at all. And that is at variance with the provision of the Constitution. And so, yes, when this issue is raised, people should be concerned. It's worrying. Apart from that, what we're doing is talking about representative government. Representation. Representative government. The representation should not only be at Parliament. The representation should also be seen in the other organs of state. You understand? And so, in the executive, in the judiciary, in the state institutions, in the army, in the police, in all the other public service institutions, Ghanaians should see that they have people representing their interests in those institutions. That is what we are doing. We're not in a fiefdom where an individual will be the head and then members of his kill will then occupy these positions to the detriment of the rest of the members of the society. And so, in terms of representation, I don't think that Volta region is adequately represented, being the World Bank. And you know, they used to get about 85% turnout. In the 2016 elections, it was 61.7% turnout. So that is 62% turnout. And that is one of the contributing factors to our losing the election. And the party should have taken due notice of this and have worked to ensure that Volta region is adequately given its rightful place in the leadership of the party.
Very well. There are times you do throw some jabs towards the former president. What is your relationship with him? Are you friends? Are you colleagues?
I personally don't harbor any ill will or hatred or dislike of the former president. That's why anywhere we meet, I always go to him and I start talking to him, and we always discuss issues, to understand. And whatever piece of advice I have, I offer him. But that does not blind me from pointing out areas, issues, or things that I feel I disagree with. I think that is the beauty of good friends. No? Loyal, committed brothers and sisters should be able to tell you that, look, this one, you got it wrong. Let's do it this way. But, we're in a society where, hypocrisy, falsehood, pretenses are the order of the day. And for me, I've been brought up to know that if you don't do the right thing, you will never reap the right results. If you indulge in falsehood, you end up in falsehood. You understand? And so I do everything to try to be truthful, candid, and sometimes blunt, because when you garnish issues, people may not truly get the import of what you are saying. So sometimes I say it as it is. And I'm doing this because, you see, I love Ghana more than I love the former president. And we are in this business of Ghana and Ghanaians, not in the business of an individual trying as much as possible to project or adore or polish or empower an individual. The business we are doing is to empower Ghana and Ghanaians. And that's why, at the risk of my interest, I do some of these things I'm doing. But because my conscience is free, is clean, I'm still a healthy, happy politician. And I'll continue to be like that.
Nice one. Was he a good leader, and will he be a good leader under an unlikely event that he wins at the Congress? Will he be a good leader? And can he win power for the NDC in 2020?
Well, I don't want to focus on the former president. He's just one of the aspirants. And we have a lot of them. And what I'm to talk about is how we are trying to create an even playing field for everybody to contest. How we will create our party, come together as members to be able to win 2020. That's what my focus should be on, not just on the individual. So I think that what I've said is sufficient. And we should fly away from the former president.
Nice one. Your convoy was in an accident. How are the victims faring? How are they doing?
My convoy was not in an accident.
What happened?
I repeat, my convoy was not in an accident. What you are referring to was an incident involving